Are we about to see huge change in the property market? A few weeks ago, I did a video with my predictions for the rest of the year, what's going to happen to the property market, and essentially I was saying if nothing else essentially changes, what we'll see is a slowdown in prices and a softening in the market. But then we just had the budget and all those predictions, they've gone straight out the window. So now we're going to see three key things that are going to impact the market for the rest of the year. If you're watching my channel for the first time, my name is Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further faster in your property investing journey. So what all these huge changes are happening and what's going on in the property market right now? Well, as I said, there's three key things that are happening. The first thing just to understand is what's been driving some of the market recently. The prices have been going up, people have been pushing to try and get transactions done, solicitors have been inundated and struggling to try and wrap up deals and get them done before the 31st of March. Because the stamp duty holiday of the 500,000 was due to come to an end. But now all of that has changed because the Chancellor just announced that they're going to extend the stamp duty holiday. So now it's going to continue for another 3 months at 500,000, and then it'll be another 3 months after that at the reduced rate of 250,000. So what does this mean? Well, what ultimately it means is that people are going to continue to try and want to buy property and get deals done. So whereas previously we would have seen this cliff edge where the prices would have probably start to fall and this huge slowdown have happened, now it's going to continue, it's going to keep moving, prices are going to keep rising because that demand is still there. Now if you're a first time buyer, you've got the £300,000 level that you're allowed anyway, but what it does mean is that now the rest of the people in the marketplace are also going to be trying to get deals done, and it will effectively stimulate the market from the lower end, which means first time buyers start buying, second time buyers start moving up the chain, and really what happens is this demand constantly gets fueled and the market still continues to rise. The reason people have been rushing to try and get their transactions done with the stamp duty holiday, because ultimately it means they're going to be making a saving on their deal, on their transaction, and that saving adds up to quite a bit of money. However, in some places, because there's been such a huge demand and there's been a limited supply, what that's done is drove up the prices. So any advantage or saving they would have had from being able to get a transaction done using the stamp duty holiday has been negated because the rises in the house prices. Now the government understands the importance of the property market within the overall economy, and they know how much money it contributes in terms of circulation, the activity, all the people involved in property, not just the people buying the property or selling the property, but your solicitors, accountants, architects, tradespeople, builders, all of these people collectively benefit from property being active, property moving in terms of the market generally. During this budget, the Chancellor announced many things that's going to impact the market. However, I didn't want this video just to be a little summary about what the budget was and what's going to happen, because hey, you probably already know that. I want to focus on how it's going to impact us in the property market. And another key thing that will impact us, the second key thing, is furlough. Now, the furlough system was due to come to an end at the end of April, and what that would have meant was that there would probably have been a lot of people that were on furlough that are probably going to end up losing their jobs at the end of it, because those businesses are not going to be in a position to take people back on, and that would mean a spike in unemployment and a lot of people losing their jobs. So you might be thinking right now, but how does that directly impact property? The reason it impacts property is because when unemployment rises, it means less people are spending money, people are more cautious, there's a lot of uncertainty, and generally the kind of the sentiment, if you like, is much more negative. And when we turn the TV on to watch the news at say 10 o'clock and the news changes from the number of deaths say from coronavirus versus the number of people losing their jobs and the unemployment figures, and that's the main headline, and those are numbers that have been reported every day, generally it just leaves a negative mood in the marketplace overall, and people are just not likely to spend. It means fewer people want to buy property. It also means that rental tends to increase at that time. So furlough has a huge impact overall, or will have a huge impact in the marketplace. But what the Chancellor has done is extended this now for several more months and in phases, so it will drop off gradually as opposed to dropping off a cliff edge, a little bit like what was going to happen to stamp duty. So we would have had the stamp duty holiday end at the end of March, then we would have had furlough come to an end at the end of April, but now both of these things being extended, again it means this is additional support for the market, and it means the chances of a market crash or a slowdown are disappearing really fast. stamp duty would have come to an end at the end of March, and then we would have had furlough come to the end at the end of April. Now, neither of these things are now going to happen because the Chancellor's pushed both of these things down the road by several months. It means that we'll continue to get a drive in the market. The property market will continue to rise and continue to boom. Now, I think he's done the right thing, to be honest. I think it was really important that stamp duty didn't stop immediately, because it would have meant that actually there would be this massive slowdown in the marketplace, and now it will gradually settle rather than having this sudden drop off. And the furlough is the same thing, with a massive spike in unemployment that cannot be good for the economy. So I think they've made some really smart moves. However, what we also need to understand is, by doing these things, are we simply just pushing things down the road, and are we moving things away? So what it means is that we don't get an immediate crash, but we will still get a slowdown and maybe a crash at some point in the future. Now, my belief is maybe that crash will still come, but there's still another third factor that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. But if you're enjoying this content, then make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and enable the notification bell, and that way you get notified when we're doing videos like this. I'm still waiting for you to hit that like button. The third big and key factor to what's going to happen in the property market is 95% mortgages. So Boris has been going on about bringing in these 95% mortgages, which essentially is the replacement of the Help to Buy scheme, or some people call it the Help to Sell scheme. You know, it's a scheme that we're running on our new build properties, the new build developments that we're doing. We had the scheme there. They're designed for developers to help them sell new property, but it was never really designed for second-hand property, i.e. property that's not brand new. So now this new scheme is going to be for people that are looking to buy property. They've got a small deposit they can put down. It doesn't have to be a brand new property. It could be a second-hand property that they're purchasing, and this is definitely going to make a big impact in the marketplace. If you think about generation rent, why is it that they can't get onto the property ladder? The reason is not because they can't afford to make the monthly payments, i.e. the mortgage payments. The reason they can't get onto the property ladder is because they can't get together the cash they need to put down as a deposit to be able to get a mortgage to move forward. And now with that coming down to a smaller 5% level, it means it's going to be much easier for first-time buyers, people to get onto the property ladder and be able to own a home, because what they're paying for rent is probably not going to be that different to what they're going to be paying as a mortgage payment, but now they can move forward, get onto the property ladder. This, I believe, is going to be the biggest stimulant in the property market, particularly at the entry level. That's going to drive up the prices, and coupled with stamp duties, very little for first-time buyers anyway. You know, when we look at these things, I think this is going to keep the market going. I really don't see a crash happening anytime soon. I think the market will start to change either towards the end of this year or the beginning of 2022. That's when we'll maybe start seeing a slowdown, because some of these schemes will start coming to an end. The economy will probably just start changing. Unemployment is still going to rise. Remember, some of these things, we've just kicked the can down the road. We haven't resolved the problems. We've just pushed them down the road. And the amount of borrowing that the country's got into right now is horrendous. I mean, the amount of money. Yes, I know they need to do these things to support the economy, but this needs to be paid back. So some of these things are going to come back, and we're going to have to resolve them. But right now, the way things are, the economy is going to continue to the property side of the economy, if you like, is going to continue to grow, and we're going to still see price increases. We're going to see a healthy demand. And there may even be some people looking to sell. For example, a CGT, capital gains tax, hasn't changed. So what that means is some people might be looking to take advantage of that while it's still around in its current form, to be sell property, and rather than being able to delay and maybe do that at some point in the future. So all these things, when you look at it, the market's going to continue to be active. It's going to continue to be buoyant, and it's probably at the beginning of next year we'll start seeing change. I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen in the market? In fact, put it in the comment section below, and I'll look out for those comments, and I'll give you my thoughts as well. I'd love to hear what you think is going to happen in the market. In the property market, there are a few key indicators that we need to keep a very close eye on, which give us an idea of which way the market's going, whether it's rising, falling, it's flatlining, and that's something that's really important to be able to assess what's going on. If you haven't already, then make sure you watch the video over here where I talk about this in a lot more detail. And of course, before you go, click on my face to subscribe to the channel. Hey, come on, give my face a little click. Go on, share some love. Click on that to subscribe before you go.